Hello, hello, hello. It is Sunday and it is time for my mental health vlog. And I actually have a lot to talk about today. First, something really cool. I started a GoFundMe to try and get my book, The Elephant Above Us, published, not through Amazon, like with a real publisher that can help get us into more bookstores and libraries and be officially, published by the company. Because of the size of the book, it's been really hard to get it published in a lot of sites that do, self-publishing like Amazon or whatever. So it's made it a little bit challenging, and I'm pretty committed to the size of the book and the way that it's laid out. I don't want to sacrifice those to get it, just to get it in a better market. So I'd rather go through an actual publishing company, and I found one that I like. We're still reviewing the contract, but after looking at a couple of them, we have a pretty good idea of what it's going to cost. So started a GoFundMe for that. And what I've done is I've actually ordered some incentives, like some marketing material for the book. Like I've ordered some pins and some keychains and some stickers, and come up with some other fun stuff to give for incentives for people that make their donations. So that was fun, and I'm excited. It's starting off slow, but my life has finally calmed down a little bit, knock on wood, that I can focus again on my book, because that is something that I'm very proud of, something that I love a lot, and I want to pursue that and see if I can take that one step further. Also dealing with the illustrator, who's a lifelong friend of mine, and she's pretty excited about that next step as well. So pretty excited about that. As y'all know from last week, my back went out. I have a friend of mine who I actually met through my boyfriend and one of his friends, who is an amazing massage therapist and honestly just an awesome damn person. But she is the only one that I have found that can really fix me when I'm broken, so to speak. And she does give really nice, relaxing massages if that is what you're looking for. However, when my back is out and I'm hurting, that is not what I'm looking for. And she is so skilled to be able to tell you, okay, you hurt because of this. We have to do this to fix it, and these are the muscles that are making that happen. Like, she's brilliant. And then she goes to work. It hurts. I love her, but she hurts. And there are a couple times where I've actually screamed because it hurts so much. And she will always offer you softer alternatives to get the results you want. Me, I'm like, go in, shock and awe, and then I will recover. And then when I recover, I'll feel better. And that's exactly what she does. She goes in, she shock and awes whatever's going on. It hurts. I will feel like I've been in a car accident the next day, and I did. But then I'm better. And the process a lot faster than if I just let my back do its normal thing. And she also helped give me some stretch ideas for areas that she sees consistent problems with for my body, which most people have, honestly. But people who have desk jobs, usually like right here with your psoas and right here in your neck muscles as well, because we're all hunched over. But she is awesome. So if you ever want her information, let me know. She takes private clients and I will get that for you, and she's amazing. Anyway, I digress. This is not a commercial. Wednesday at work, we had another release, a full release, and that sounds dirty. This was my first successful release. We had a successful release a couple of weeks ago, but that release was specifically fixing everything that we broke the week prior during that release. So I don't consider the patch release a successful one, because it was a fix to a problem. This one, everything went like it was supposed to. I've got a new developer I'm working with. I got a new developer manager that I'm working with, and they are much more detail oriented. They have taken the problems that we've had in the past and really tried to find solutions for them, and that's been amazing to work with. Still a bit of a language barrier with the new person I'm working with, but that's on me. That's not on them. He is great at his job, and he's great at being very detail oriented and finding ways to make sure that that nothing is skipped or missed or falls to the cracks. And it has created a little bit more work on my end because of how I give them the information, but I would much rather spend 5 more minutes putting in a ticket with them to make sure that it's what they need than to spend hours having to fix it later when it's not right. So that's been going great, and it's really alleviated a lot of stress that I've had at work. So that's been nice. And work this week has been kind of quiet, which I'm not hating. So anyway, I had that release on Wednesday night, and it was so nice to finally have a big successful, launch at work and not have to send the email after the fact for people to read the next morning that's like, well, here's what happened. No, it was like, hey, the release was great, I'm going to bed. So that was awesome. So for a while I've been changing subjects, rapid fire today. For a while I've been talking about having to file bankruptcy. My ex and I were trying to file bankruptcy before the divorce, and then we went all the way to the process of getting to court, and the judge was like, you have to do the divorce first before you do the bankruptcy. So what I have decided to do, since my ex is still dragging his feet on the divorce paperwork, which is in his court, I've decided to take some initiative and take some money that I had set aside from the sale of the house and focus on paying off some of the bigger items. So I may not have to file bankruptcy. I can just go ahead and get those things taken care of and cleared off my docket. Those are the things that, we had agreed in writing that I would be responsible for, and he's got his list of things he's responsible for. So I've been cleaning that up because I would rather spend the money now and start rebuilding my credit than have to wait for God knows how much longer before I can file for bankruptcy, if that even gets approved or goes through, and then have to start the waiting process before my credit can start rebuilding. So decided to just go ahead and start paying off a couple things. I'm still waiting to see what all is still open, because some things closed when we initially filed for the bankruptcy, but then some of them never reopened, and so I'm just going through that process of finding out who I still need to pay money to, or who I still owe debt to. Let's see. So last year I had to put my dog Wolfie down because he had some mental health issues, some aggression issues that were not something that we could train out or fix, and that was heartbreaking for me. Recently, I've kind of been looking at dogs to adopt, because even though we have, my boyfriend has a corgi, which I love the corgi. He's great. And I'm, one of his, I'm a parent of his now, I guess, but it's not, my dog. And I was getting to the point where I was missing, the big dog and, the big lap dog, and I just like bigger dogs. So I've been looking at adoptable profiles for a while, and we found one that was a Staffordshire Terrier, and just a big goofball boy, a couple years old, because I didn't want a puppy, a couple years old. He had been rescued from almost being euthanized because of space, and he was really good with other dogs. So we did a play date with he and our dog, the corgi, to see if they got along okay. And there were some snips here and there, but the corgi's old and an asshole. But we figured we'd bring him to the house and see how they do. So we're going to foster him. We were going to foster him for a couple weeks and then see if it worked out. It's amazing how quickly you fall in love with an animal. I didn't make an announcement about the fostering on Facebook because I really wanted to make sure it worked out. So Friday night, we brought him home. I went to go pick up my son and then come back. And we had separated the two dogs with, gates, make sure everything's safe. And my boyfriend went to the store, and I'm like, well, the dogs are doing really, really well. Let me go ahead and open the gate and let them sniff and get to know each other better, after being told specifically not to do that. In doing that, the corgi Locke snipped at, his name was Elliot, snipped at Elliot a few times, and Elliot, stood back until he got cornered. And I couldn't get there fast enough. And my boyfriend is not there. Only other person in the house is my son, who does not like loud noises and who can be a little sensitive sometimes, which is not a problem. But I had to call him to help me pull the dogs apart, and I had the big one. I had Elliot, and he had to grab Locke, and he was terrified, and he had to get Locke outside. And I have not seen my son that scared since the incident on his birthday several years ago where I punched my ex's boyfriend. And as hard of a decision as it was, I can't have a dog that my son is afraid of. That just won't work. He's part of my family. He is my family. My boyfriend was very supportive when he got home, and I told him what had happened. I had made the decision that Elliot needed to go back to the foster, and that was not an easy decision to make. But sometimes the best decisions are hard. So my boyfriend got up early on Saturday, broke down the new kennel, broke down the baby gates that we had just bought, packed everything up in the car, and took Elliot back to the foster, and put everything back in the house just like it was before. When I got up on Saturday, it was just like he had never been there. So it was really hard, because it's amazing that dog was in my life for less than 12 hours before we had already decided that we weren't the best fit for him. And that was pretty devastating. That kind of ruined Friday night, but that was me. I as much as my boyfriend has told me not to, I blame myself completely. And I know that I royally fucked up on Friday, letting them try to get together. One, without another adult there to help if there was an issue, and two, because I had been explicitly told not to by someone who knew better than I did. Sometimes I think I know better than other people, and sometimes I just don't. I think we all go through that. The rest of the weekend went great. Today we had fun science day and did some science projects with my son because I had him all weekend, and that was a lot of fun. Last night we did watch a movie where there were some innuendos, and my son was like, "So what do they mean?" And I'm like, "Well, that means they want to have sex." And he was like, "Well, what does that mean exactly?" And I'm like, "Oh, shit." So we paused the movie. We talked a little bit about how this is a conversation that we definitely want to have a little bit more of, a bigger conversation with Daddy, so Daddy and Papa can both be involved. But I gave him a very brief overview about what sex is, how there's very different, a lot of different types of sex, why people have sex, and the fact that that's where babies come from. So, blindsided by that one. And then my son was like, "Okay, I didn't want to know any of that." So I'm like, "Well, now you do." And I've also given him a book that we've had for a couple weeks about, why is my body changing and what is it doing? So he's more aware of what his body is doing. He had a little spider bite on his ankle, and as I was treating it this weekend, I'm like, "You have hair on your legs, not like peach fudge. You're getting like real little baby hairs on your legs." My little boy's turning into a little man. But I'm okay. I am trying a new thing, which is called not being overly emotional. And I've cried enough on Friday night. I'm done with that today. So, but there were a lot of emotions this week. There was joy from work. There was excitement for the GoFundMe. There was grief and loss on Friday night with Elliot. There was, terror from having had the, an impromptu sex talk with my son on the couch while we watched a movie together. And then there was just, existence. So a lot happened this week. And I'm managing all of my feelings. But yeah, sometimes the hard choices are the right ones to make. Anyway, that's about it. I mean, there's a lot more that's happened this week, but that's all I want to talk about this week. So I love you all. Check on your friends, make sure they're doing okay. Check on your loved ones, make sure they're doing okay. Oh, my family member that had the cancer removed, they did a screening and all the cancer is gone. So, woo, very excited about that. And check on yourself, make sure you're doing okay. Make sure if you're going to make a big change in your life, you're really, really ready for the hard parts of it that may not always be pleasant. And I will chat with you guys next week. Oh, I will be having surgery on Friday. That's the surgery that's been rescheduled twice. So unless it gets rescheduled again, when I do my vlog next Sunday, I will most likely be doped up on painkillers with God knows what this is going to look like. So we shall see. But I will check with you guys next week, one way or another. Thanks so much for your time, and I'll check with you next week.